there found me somehow and figured out that I had a lineman song, and they asked me to play it one morning in the safety briefing. And I'm telling you, playing a song and singing at 7 o'clock in the morning is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So they had a little guitar there. I picked it up and I played Highline Cowboy, and somebody recorded it, put it out on the internet. It got 25,000 views. Yeah, that was amazing. It got shared all over. I think Lineman Barn shared it. A couple of the big pages out there shared it, and it got 25,000 views. Well, that led to iTunes purchases and then streaming, and it just kind of all ties together. So the more it gets out there, the more it's seen, the more it's heard, the more it's known about. And kind of get back where I was going with that story, I got a phone call one day, and it was from a news station in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they were going to put together a small segment on their evening news show that night about the linemen and the utility workers that were in the area, and they wanted to use my song in the commercial or in the news segment. Of course, I said, absolutely. They said, well, what do you want? I said, all I ask is just give me credit. Just put my name up there. I don't charge people to use things like that. Just give me credit. Just put my name up, show that it's my song, and that's all I ask. So it's been in, I don't know, maybe half a dozen or more commercials through the years, mostly in the Southeast. It was in the first Storm Soldiers documentary that came out. It was in that, plus Life on the Line. So the more it gets out there, the more it's heard, the more it's seen, and it just kind of all ties back together.
That's awesome. That's awesome story. I've not seen the YouTube video of the safety meeting. I guess we were all working too at the time, and we weren't on social media a lot. Of course, we dodged the bullet with Dorian. But it felt like we all ran here in Florida. We ran in place for a week, just waiting on something to happen, and it never did. But you mentioned about going to South Carolina. Was it during Irma or Michael? Which one? You went to the Keys for one. I can't remember which one hit Irma. Okay.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in the Keys with
we did.
With Irma. We had a lot of poles down, but you guys, man, y'all were on roads with nothing left.
Oh, yeah. We were on Big Pine Key, which is the northern edge of Keys Energy's system. And it was ground zero for their impact. It was devastated. I think we spent, it was either 9 or 12 days in the Keys. We did a little bit of work in Winter Park around the Orlando area. Once we got Georgia back on, we had Georgia back on in just a couple of days, other than a few areas, and they had plenty of help. We reached out to Florida, went down to Winter Park, and then we were getting ready to come home, and they called and said they needed help in the Keys. So, of course, we jumped right on that, took off. It was bad.
What's another 600 miles, right, for a bunch of linemen?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. And how often do you get a chance to go work a hurricane in the Keys?
You got a rough life, Brandon, from the whole Caribbean thing and the Keys. You have a rough life. So.
Well, if I can take that burden off of somebody else, then I feel like I'm doing my part.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, man, so I appreciate the time you took to sit with me today, and I could talk to you all day about line work. We all could. That's one reason I started this podcast, because people that are in this trade absolutely love it, and you don't ever stop talking about it.
Right.
It's contagious. Really enjoyed talking to you today, but before we end this episode, is there anybody you want to shout out to, any of your family, supporters through the years, or anybody that helped you? This will be for posterity. This will always be out there. Everybody will always be able to hear what you say about them, good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to keep it on the good side.
Good. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
I already talked about my dad and John. But I really want to give a shout out to Kelly Jones, who was my foreman and who got body slammed the first day there. And if he hears this, he'll tell you that he was the one that body slammed but it wasn't. It was the other way around. He was obviously on the bottom, but no, Kelly really, he taught me how to be a lineman, how to act like a lineman. He was tough on me, but he watched after me, and he was a great foreman. I want to thank him for his part in helping me to get where I am today.
It's amazing. I have somewhat the same story. There's a lineman in Chattanooga. His name's Brian Knight, that I remember being in climbing school, and there you have those days when you're in that training initially where you're asking yourself if you're in the right role or not. Folks that have been in the trade a long time, they sense it. And I remember, at the time, here I am 5'6", 135 pounds at the time, which is hard to believe, but at the top of a pole, and then here comes this giant up the pole, this big, burly lineman. I mean, I don't know how tall Brian is. Everybody's taller than I am, Brandon, especially you. This guy's probably 6'3", 6'4", and I don't know how much he weighed. Maybe 245 or so, 235, 240. And he climbed up the pole underneath me, and he talked to me a little bit about your mind, about how your mind would control you, and how it would. I remember him telling me, he's like, "Man, you could, your mind, if you let it, you'll talk yourself into a seizure up here on the pole." He said, he said, you got to keep that in check. He said, look in the future, 25 to 30 years, and look at the amount of money and the life that you will have in this trade if you don't walk away. And because of that one time, I mean, I can remember the substation we were working in, where the training facility was. I can remember it like it was yesterday, him doing that. And we all have those people that made an impact. So I'm sure, what'd you say your foreman's name was?
Kelly Jones.
Kelly Jones, yeah. I'm sure he will snicker, and he probably will set the record straight on who body slammed who before it's over with.
I'm sure he will. I'll get a message one day.
Yeah, you're going to get a phone call pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you today. Good to catch up. Next time you're down in Kissimmee, you and John can buy my lunch, breakfast, whatever.
Absolutely.
Would be great. And then if next time I'm in Atlanta, we'll definitely hook up. I didn't realize that you live on the I-20 corridor. My daughter graduated from Alabama. My middle daughter graduated from Alabama. Yep. In May, and I flew into Atlanta and drove 20 over to Tuscaloosa. Yep.
Yeah.
Came right through there.
Right by my house.
Yeah.
Not far up the interstate at all.
All right, man. Well, take care. I am looking forward to you and John coming and talking to me here soon, catching up with you guys and seeing your name on some more songs and music. And that way I can say, hey, I knew that guy before he became famous. But you already are. That's the thing. You already are, Brandon. You're very successful. I'm glad you took time out to talk to me.
Man, thank you much. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for the invitation.
He's out on the line to put back what God has undone.